Good morning. I'm happy to see you this morning. I've had a couple weeks of lots of family. My mom turned 88 and we celebrated in my home with lots of gatherings and family. And I got to spend a week in Southern California on the Balboa Island, and all my children, adult children, and all the grandchildren got to be together, and the new babies who are now 8 and 10 months old got to meet their great grandmother there. So it's been a special time for me these last few weeks, and you have had some great teachers. They have done a great job teaching you and applying God's word to your life. So let's get started this morning, and I'm going to open us in prayer. Father, we just come again this morning, and we ask that your Spirit would be with me, that it would direct my words, that it would bring life to our dry bones, that it would change and transform each and every heart that hears. And Father, I pray this morning, there's nothing better than you, that we would put aside everything, that we would come and be with you, and your word, that it would be a treasure in our life. In your name I pray this morning. Amen. Well, get your Bible and your worksheet and follow along with me. It is, as always, we're going to be really flipping through Proverbs because it speaks about lots of topics, and we're going to center on one topic this morning. So where are we? We are in week 8, and it's Proverbs 17 through 19. We're going to be looking at that, and I'm going to add some other Proverbs that will just enlarge our view this morning. So get your Bibles, turn to chapter 17, get ready to do a lot of flipping around in Proverbs. And our key this morning is true friendship. True friendship is the way of wisdom. So we're going to look at that this morning. And I have a question for you to start us, get us off thinking. And here's the question. How many friends do you have? I mean, Facebook, this might look like your friends on Facebook. Facebook might say that you have hundreds of friends. But you know what? In reality, I don't think those are true friends. Biblical, true friendship. Cigna health provider has done a study, and it says it's found that 54% of adults feel like no one knows them very well at all. And it appears that the younger you are, the worse that is. You see, the American culture, study after study shows that the American culture feels more lonely than ever before, even though it's completely and more connected on social media. God wants his people to develop deep friendships, true friendships, because God is a triune friend, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And since we're made in his image, it is a true blessing to have friendships, to be given the gift of friendships. And as a book on wise living, Proverbs is a book on wise living. It has a lot to say about friendships. And so Proverbs is going to teach us that there is something profoundly wise about developing true biblical friendships, about being a friend. And there is something profoundly foolish about living life alone, isolated, with no true friends. Now, if you think friendship is a lot of work and it takes a lot of time, that is true. But in Proverbs, it says that wisdom is an intimate friend. And so let's be friends with wisdom so that we can be the true friend that our friends need us to be. So we're going to take a look today at true friendship, biblical friendship. And we're going to learn a lot about how to be a friend and how to pick friends wisely. Let's dig in. So I want to look at, I want to do the 5 W's and H in friendship. So let's look at first, who should we choose as our friends? Who should we choose as our friends? I mean, we open the book of Proverbs in chapter 1, where Solomon is instructing his son, don't choose bad friends. Bad friends will not take you down the wisdom road. Bad friends corrupt good character. We saw that right away. And in chapter 12, verse 26, it says, a righteous friend is a guide to his neighbor, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. Chapter 13, verse 20, he who walks with wise men, he who walks with wise friends will be wise. But the companion, the friend of fools, will suffer harm. Look at chapter 22, verses 24 and 25. I said we're going to do some flipping, right? Flip through these chapters. 22, verse 24 and 25. Do not associate with a man given to anger, or go with a hot-tempered man, or you will learn his ways and find a snare for yourself. You see, Proverbs has shown us all along that we need to choose your friends wisely, because our friends determine the direction of our lives. Isn't that true? Friends rub off on us. We know when we hang out with friends, their character rubs off on us because we become like the people we hang out with. You see, wisdom or foolishness, it is not only taught, but it is caught. Did you hear that? It's not only taught, but it's caught. So I want you this morning to think about the 5 friends that you hang out with the most, because it's very likely that you will become like them. That's revealing, isn't it? So we need to choose our friends wisely, and we need to choose wise friends. I love chapter 18, verse 14. It's a very, it gives us a graphic picture of friends. You see, the fountain of wisdom, the fountain of wise friends is a bubbling brook. You see, wise friends are like a bubbling brook. Isn't that a great picture? They're life-giving. Wise friends are life-giving. Their lives and their words are refreshing. They're clear, they're true, they're honest. It's a constant flow of wisdom. Choose wise friends. I remember when my husband and I were a newly married couple, and we were beginning our life together. And this was critical. I mean, we were at that time, we were kind of lukewarm Christians, and we could have gone any direction, in all honesty. But we decided to go the direction of church, and we would choose wise friends. We would choose to be involved, to center our lives on a small group of friends. And we joined a small group of friends. And honestly, these friends, if I were to pick them today, they weren't exactly like me. But they became very important in my life. You see, they were like a fountain of a bubbling brook of wisdom. And this group of friends changed the direction of our life. They set a foundation for our married life and for the beginning and for a direction. They spoke truth into our life. We sought biblical truth together, and they were loving us and encouraging us in our faith. They built us up, and they set the foundation for the beginning of our life, and that changed the direction of our life. Choose wise friends. Because I have seen it also conversely, right? That I have seen other people, other Christian friends who have ruined or destroyed their life or their Christian faith by choosing the wrong kinds of friends. So let's avoid fools for friends. Now, look at chapter 17. It's all about the fool. Look how many times you marked the word fool. It's all over this chapter, and you want to avoid fools for friends, because look at what kind of person they are. They have, that is pictured here in this chapter. Let's look at a few things that we see how the fool is pictured. In chapter 17, verse 7, you see that the fool has lying lips. We've seen this all along. They're a deceiver. And chapter 18, verse 6 says that their lying lips bring strife. They bring strife to relationships. They're quarrelsome. In chapter 17, verse 8, the fool is a briber. They are a briber. And in verse 9, the fool repeats a matter. They reveal secrets. They betray confidences. And it goes on in chapter 18, verse 8, the words of a whisperer, the words of a fool are dainty morsels. They're hard to resist, like yummy food. They're enticing, and they go deep down. Gossip goes deep down into the innermost parts of a body, into the innermost parts of friendship. You see, gossip is to friendship what adultery is to marriage. What's the result of fools as friends? In chapter 17, verse 9, it separates intimate friends. It destroys friendship. They are destroyers. They are troublemakers as friends. I love how it explains it a little bit further, having a fool as a friend. Let a man, in verse 12, look at it. Let a man meet a bear. Let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs. Do you want to meet a bear robbed of her cubs? Absolutely not. That's dangerous. You want to avoid that. And it's saying that it would be better to meet a bear robbed of its cubs than have a fool for a friend. You see, avoid fools as friends. Don't associate with them. This verse shows us it would be alarming. It would be disastrous to have a fool for a friend. Like coming upon a bear robbed of her cubs. It would be better. It would be better to meet a bear robbed of her cubs than to have a fool for a friend. And I like how it goes even further in that picture in chapter 18, verse 4. You see, the words of a man's mouth are deep waters. We have seen the words of a fool. See, what's in the heart of a fool comes out of his mouth, and the words of a fool are deep waters. I can't think of anything more frightening than deep waters. Don't you think deep waters are scary? They're not clear. They seem dangerous. They're hiding what's lurking underneath. You can't see the bottom. It's concealing. You don't know what a fool is up to. You see, you want to choose your friends wisely. You want to choose wise friends, bubbling brook friends. Avoid fools for friends, deep waters, dark, concealing, lurking friends of a fool, fools that are friends. Wisdom wants you to spot dangerous fools and avoid fools for friends. Now let's look at the next thing. Let's look at, why does God give us friends? Why? Let's look at that and look at chapter 17, verse 3. The refining pot is for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests hearts. Turn over to chapter 25, verse 4. Explains that a little bit more. Take away the dross from the silver, and there comes out a vessel for the smith, the silver smith, for the jeweler. You see, this is God's ultimate aim in our life, to take out those worthless metals and to bring out the precious, the refined, the gold that's ready for the silversmith. And you see, this is something that God does in friendship. You see, friendships are an instrument of sanctification in our life. God is all about refining us, purifying us, making us into his image. And friends are a part of that process. You see, it even says in chapter 27, verse 17, that friends, turn over to it, 27:17, iron sharpens iron. So one man, one woman, one friend sharpens another woman, another friend. You see, God gives us friends so that he can sharpen us, so that friendship can make us better. Do you have a friend like that? That can sharpen you, that can make you a better person? Ask yourself, is this friend making me a better person? I'll never forget a dear friend that I have and had, and during that time, I had gone through a trial, a family trial, and I had asked her how I should handle that dispute, because in all honesty, I had every right to be angry, humanly speaking, and from an earthly perspective. I had all right to be angry, and honestly, to move away from that family relationship, or maybe to put an end to that family relationship. And I sought this friend's guidance, and I sought her wisdom, and she gave me her wisdom for that situation. She sharpened me. She made me a better person, and she let me see it through God's eyes. And so then my response was completely different. I saw it through God's eyes, and I gave a more godly response to that situation. It brought fruit and life to a family relationship. Now, another reason why God gives us friends, let's look at it, is in chapter 17, verse 22. A joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up bones. True friends bring joy to our lives. Isn't that true? They enrich and bring goodness to every area of our lives. You know, studies have shown this. What Solomon knew years ago, medical studies have shown this, that friendship boosts our happiness and our health. They bring joy to our lives. Another reason why God gives us friends, let's look at Proverbs 20, verse 6. Many a man proclaims his loyalty. You see, many proclaim to be a faithful, true friend, but who can find a trustworthy man? Who can find a loyal, a reliable friend? Who can find such a friend? True friends are rare. They're precious. They're a treasure. They're a gift. They're a rare jewel. This is why God gives us friends. Now let's look at where. Where do you find friends? Turn to Proverbs 18:1. He who separates himself seeks his own desire. He who separates himself seeks his own desire. He quarrels against all sound wisdom. I looked this up in what's called the World English Bible, and it says this: an unfriendly man pursues selfishness and defies all sound judgment. An unfriendly man separates himself, seeking his own desire. You see, this is ignoring, it's quarreling with sound wisdom. Proverbs calls it a fool. You see, God doesn't want us to isolate ourselves, to live separate from others. It's wisdom, it's God's wisdom that we be connected, that we live in community, that we not isolate. You see, where do you find friends? You need to connect. You need to be in community. You need to make sure you are not separating yourself. You need to build friendships. Wisdom connects. It builds friendship. And this is where we find true friends. And if you're looking for that friend that is wise and not foolish, that friend that is that friend that is wise and that isn't foolish. I mean, the best place that I can tell you is in your church bodies. Join a small group. That's why you're here in Bible study, in precepts. That has been always my prayer for precept, that as you connect, that as you study God's word together, that you will feel known, you will feel connected, that you will feel loved, that you will feel encouraged, that you will make true friends. You see, I wonder, especially now, if we're tempted to isolate. I know it's hard. It's hard to be connected. It's hard to live connected, and we have to try, be creative. You see, don't isolate. This is going against God's wisdom. We need to be connected. In all reality, God can bring friendship anywhere, anytime. But a great place is right here in precepts or in your church bodies. Let's get connected. Let's look at the next question. What are the characteristics of true friends? What are the characteristics of true friends? Look at 17:17. It's pretty obvious. A friend loves at all times. Friendship, true friendship, is based on love. A friend loves at all times. Look at 18:24. But there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. You see, true friends stick. I love that word, stick. The Hebrew word for stick is the same word used for cleaving. That's that word we find in marriage, cleaving to one another, clinging to one another, that we've seen back in Genesis where it talks about marriage. You see, true friends stick, they cleave, they cling, they're steadfast, they're trustworthy, they can be counted on. Can you be counted on as a friend? Both these verses talk about true friends that love and stick are better than family. They're even better than family, than a brother, because a brother, you can count on a brother. I mean, brothers have to kind of help out in adversity, but friends, they choose you. They choose to help out when things are not going so well. They choose to stick with you. You see, family are blessings too, but friendships can offer something more than families. They can bring something more than families even do. Look at chapter 17, verse 9. He who conceals a transgression seeks love. You see, true friends, they're not like a gossip who reveals your transgressions, talks about them. See, true friends have a concealing and forgiving love. They have a concealing and forgiving love. That word conceal or cover is found in the Old Testament, and it means atonement or atonement for forgiveness. It's like putting a blanket over the offense. With true forgiveness. Look at chapter 19, verse 11. A man's discretion, a man's wisdom, another word for discretion is wisdom. A man's discretion makes him slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook a transgression. You see, overlook there means to take no notice of wrongs. It means to refuse to retaliate or seek revenge, to let the affront go. Wow. I mean, you know that in every friendship, they're going to disappoint you. And you'll disappoint every friend. And as far as human friendships go, friends are going to irritate you and offend you. But this here is what friends do. So it's not a matter of, is this going to happen? If there's going to be offenses or irritations, it's what you're going to do with those offenses and irritations. You see, wisdom says, cover the offense, conceal the transgression, seek love, reconcile and forgive. Don't bring it up again. Forgive and forget. This is love. Don't hold grudges. Do you? Do you hold grudges? Do you have a hard time getting over the past? You see, friends, you won't be friends for long if you can't get over things. You see, God considers it glory when you're this type of friends, when you cover, when you conceal offenses. He considers it glory because it reflects him. It reflects his character. It's his character to do this, to be this kind of true friends. But don't ever take this for granted. Don't ever take this for granted or think that this is easy or that friends could just get over it or forgive easily. Because look at chapter 18, verse 19. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and contentions are like the bars of a citadel, like a castle. You see, strong cities, they're pretty hard to win. Not impossible, but difficult. And bars on a castle are hard to penetrate. Not impossible, but difficult. Don't take this part of a friendship for granted. Now let's look at other characteristics of friendship. Other characteristics of friendships. True friends are others-centered. They're not self-centered. We've been seeing this already. We know this as we have studied, that true friends are others-centered. They're not self-centered. Look at chapter 18, verse 1. I mean, true friends isolate. They're seeking their own desire. They're selfish in their desire. And verse 2, a foolish friend does not delight in understanding, but only in revealing his own mind. You see, a foolish friend, or friends who are fools, they just love to hear themselves talk. You see, wise friends, friends that are other-centered, are interested in hearing the mind of other people, of understanding other people, of listening to other people. This is such a gift in friendship, of being other-centered, of listening to people, of focusing on others by listening to them and understanding them. I just got back from a week of family, and my own immediate family are friends to be treasured and love to listen, and to we love to share and be known with each other. But there are moments in my extended family where I can be in the midst of lots of people, and no one has asked anything about me, and no one has seek to understand me or to know me. Have you ever had that situation? And in the midst of a lot of people, you can feel unknown. You see, let's listen. This is such a gift of friendship. True friends are other-centered. Let's look at another characteristic of true friends, and that we see in chapter 19, verses 16 through 29. You see, Solomon is instructing his son a lot about wealth and poverty. And this speaks to being other-centered. So if you are blessed with wealth, he is saying a true friend, part of friendship is being other-centered. And true friends are gracious and kind to the poor. And we see this in verse 17. One who is gracious to a poor man lends to the Lord, and he will repay him for his good deed. And we see that in verse 22. What is desirable in a man is his kindness, and it is better to be a poor man than a liar. And we see it in chapter 17, verse 5. He who mocks the poor taunts his maker. You see, wisdom is instructing us that in friendship, we need to care for our poor brother, that there is no pride, there is no superiority in wealth, that we must help our brother, our friend in need, that we would be willing to sacrifice our resources to distribute our wealth for others in need. How about you? Can you be this kind of friend to help others in need, to be kind? This word kind is the same word hesed. We see this kindness in God. It describes God, loving kindness, radical loyalty. It is the idea of a faithful love in action. This is a characteristic of true friendship. Now, friends we are seeing here are one of their characteristic is we see this amazing love that friends have. But another thing, another part is that friends learn how to balance this love and you could say this truth. They learn how to balance compassion and also confrontation. A way that I would put this is true friends are candid. I like this word candid because it means they're truth tellers. So they're loving and they're truth tellers. I think in a buzzword in today would be accountability. So in friends, we have this love and we have this accountability. And so we're going to see that in several of our verses here. Let's look at Proverbs 19:20 and see how true friends are candid, what that looks like. Listen to the counsel and accept discipline, that you may be wise for the rest of your days. Look at 19:27 also. Cease listening, my son, to discipline, and you will stray. Cease listening to your friends of wisdom, and you will stray from the words of knowledge. You see, real friends, true friends, if they are candid, they are truth tellers, they give wise counsel. And this is not flattery, because it says in chapter 29, verse 5, to flatter a friend is to lay a trap for their feet. You see, good friends tell you what you need to hear. They deal honestly with you. They give you meaningful input so that you won't end up ensnared, trapped in your feet by foolish choices. They give you wise counsel. Now let's look at another way that friends are candid. They give you wise counsel, and they also give an honest rebuke. So true friends give and accept an honest rebuke. Let's look at chapter 17, verse 10. A rebuke goes deeper into one who has understanding than 100 blows into a fool. And look at Proverbs 27, verse 5 through 6. It says it like this: better is an open rebuke than hidden love, than false love, than false friends. Faithful are the words of a friend. Faithful are the wounds, that's that honest rebuke, of a friend, but deceitful are the kisses of an enemy. Wow, you see, a true friend cares enough to be honest, to give you that rebuke, to confront you. See, rebukes aren't fun. It says they're a wound. They hurt. They hurt to hear. And you can feel like you've been wounded. But the truth, spoken in love and in truth by a true friend, it calls it faithful. It says this is faithful. These are faithful words. You see, a wise person, it says a rebuke. One rebuke goes deeper. It goes to the heart than 100 blows to the fool. See, the fool doesn't even learn after 100 blows, but a wise rebuke from a wise friend goes deep into the heart, and a friend can submit to it and can change from it, from a loving rebuke from a friend. So let me ask you, do you have that kind of friend that can give you truth when necessary? Are you that kind of friend? I mean, this is hard. This is hard stuff. Will you remain silent? That's a false love. This is something to think about. True friends are candid. They give wise counsel. They give and accept an honest rebuke. Now let's look at a couple other things. When is the season for friendship? When is the season for friendship? You see, true friends are constant. Let's look at 17:17. We've looked at this verse already, but it says a friend loves at all times. 17:17. A friend, true friends are constant. They love at all times. That means all seasons of life. When is the season for friendship? All seasons. In the good times, in the bad times, in the boring times, in the mundane times, in the changing times, at all times. Isn't it hard to be a friend in the changing times? In these times, it's hard to be a friend right now. But it's hard when circumstances change to be a constant friend. When one friend maybe has gotten divorced and another friend hasn't. When one friend's spouse has died and another friend hasn't. When one friend has taken on a new job or a new ministry and the other friend has more time. When trials or sickness happen, when circumstances change, it's difficult to be a good, true, constant friend. You see, to be a good friend, a true friend, you have to have some availability, don't you? True friends it's not always convenient and easy. I can't imagine enduring the different seasons in my own life without constant friends. Now let's look at another area where we see that friends are not constant. They're sort of short-lived or fair weather friends. And we see that in chapter 19, verse 4 and 6. Verse 4 and 6. Wealth adds many friends. You see, it's true. Wealth adds many friends. And look at chapter 6. Many will seek the favor of a generous man. Many will seek the favor of a generous man. You see, some friendships are formed out of what they can gain in that friendship, or what gift, so to speak, can be given, or what that friendship can offer them. And they're drawn to the riches or the things in that friendship that can be gained. It's selfish. These are fake friends. They're superficial friends. They won't be constant, and they would be fair weather friends. You see, friendships based on money are destined to be disappointing. Now, let's look at the last thing. How many friends should we have? And we've looked at this verse, but let's look at it again. Chapter 18, verse 24. A man of too many friends comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. You see, better are a few true friends, a friend that sticks, that is constant, that is loving and truth-telling. Better is a few true friends than many companions. You see, it is foolish to think that we can achieve true friendship with many. Because look at the warning here. A man of too many friends comes to ruin. It's foolish, it's dangerous. And too many companions may come to ruin. See, true friends, a few good true friends are better than many companions. Now let's conclude this time together. Chapter 18, verse 1 says, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runs to it and is safe." What a friend we have in Jesus, in the Lord. Jesus is that friend that sticks closer than a brother. You see, when we put our faith in Jesus, we gain the most constant friend because he puts his spirit inside of us, and he will never leave us or forsake us. His love is constant and always with us. And we receive that wisest friend through the Spirit, because the Spirit instructs and guides us. And he is that friend that is candid, that refines us, that tests our heart and takes out the worthless for the precious so we can be holy, more like him. Run to him. We receive the treasure, the jewel of a true friend. Run to him. Take refuge in him. You are safe with him. Now and forever. Jesus is the truest friend. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.